Hello, Broptimus24 here, back again with another video. Today I'm going to be covering the unknown, obscure characters with no names in the who appear in my comics. I don't have every Transformers comics, so there's probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and I'm only covering the ones that have their robot mode clearly visible and visible enough I could do like little drawings of them as notified as tabs on the pages where I was able to find the most stuff towards getting their drawings done. So, for this, these are only the ones that had characters I could find. I couldn't find any in the first two volumes of Transformers, G.I. Joe, or in Duke or Scarlet for the Energon universe, which are all the other ones I have. There may be stuff in Destro or the first volume of G.I. Joe that I haven't had a chance to check, or the third volume of Void Rovers, because I haven't had a chance to get a hold of them just yet, but I will try and get a hold of them, and when I do, I will look through, and then potentially once I've found enough other characters and enough other volumes and all that, you might get a sequel video where I go over even more. This is all I have of the IDW universe, so there's probably hundreds in IDW's 2005 continuity. But this is all I have of that continuity, or any IDW to be fair. So, I'm sorry. You just have to be on this. And then, despite I have some of the old Marvel annuals and all that for Marvel UK for Transformers, this was the only one that had any characters I noticeably could spot that I knew were unnamed characters. Even if Broadside randomly seems to switch between being a male and female in this, either I'm just like terrible at telling genders of the robots' designs, or it looked like they were male initially, they became female. Don't know what's on with that, but yeah. I'm only covering the ones though that are vehicles. Robot modes. If it's just a vehicle mode, like some of them are in this, I am not covering them. Or if I'm pretty sure I have seen a toy somewhere of them, but I could not. Even if I couldn't find like the toy, I have not covered the one character in here who I'm pretty sure I've seen the toy of. But there is one character in there that could count, but I believe has had a toy before. Anyway, let's get right into it with IDW 2005 with Transformers vs. Visionaries, because that is by far what was like one of the most iconic Transformers continuities and one of the longest running. Where we have these two, a purple dude and a red dude. The drawing of the red dude is on this page. I've done a staff next to it as well, which takes from what was visible being. So you got the faces there, but yeah, it's these overly forgotten guards do sadly not make it. This is where I've kept the purple dude because you could get a much clearer view of his upper body here. So I counted that as just where I would keep it, so I could show that so you understood where I'd got the head design for the purple dude. But yeah, for IDW 2005, these are the only two. They both end up dying, these two unnamed guards. It is never confirmed if they're Autobot or Decepticons, so I do not know, but that's something you'll find. There's basically just two characters who are confirmed to be Decepticons. Otherwise, there's mostly Autobots or ambiguous is like where most characters fall under. Or at least most characters are either heavily implied to be Autobots or left ambiguous. I think there's only two that can be confirmed as Decepticons in this that I was able to draw. There was, yeah, it's kind of crazy, but yeah. So, got these two who I think they're cool designs, and I would love to see the characters be brought back, used more. They should do something like what they did with Armada, where they threw in mostly new characters, some of them using old names, but do it with the designs from forgotten background characters from the comics, just randomly. Like, it would give such a fun idea. But yeah. Actually, I'll leave them on top of Transformers Visionary, so I remember that one's been done. Because Energon Universe is larger, let's move on to this. Transformers Compendium, the Complete Collection. Where it starts off with on this page. I do know Skater is here, but Skater is named. He is like a heavily forgotten character, but he is named. And the one dude in black is no clue who that is, and I can't tell really what they look like, so they have been skipped over for this. And otherwise, yes, the traitor is here. But we'll start off in blue, back here with the white. I've done my best to draw him based on what I could see from that absolutely tiny image of him. But yeah, the blue with the white, to be followed up by this guy, who I know he looks a lot like Slingshot in my drawing, but that's what he looks like in the actual comic. I've tried to incorporate his design into how it would potentially look, going off of what other fairly minor characters like Zarwan at the time looked like. And to finish it off, we do have this guy, who seems to have a very Gears-esque design. I wasn't certain, so I've just drawn him like this. But yeah. In the foreground, reloading what seems like a Shockwave style cannon. And then we have the traitor, who, unlike the other three, who you never see again, and could still be alive by the end of the series, yeah, just all you need to know about what happens to the traitor is shrapnel. Shrapnel is very kind to the traitor, giving the Decepticons all that info they needed. But yeah. But don't worry if that was concerning to you. You've got more. Where is it? We have this High Priest of the Primes, also a confirmed Autobot, like the previous four. And also never never confirmed to die, but this is like the only time this Priest of Primus is visible. But yeah, already got 5 Autobots right in like the first couple issues of this. Before the main villain Galvatron has even appeared, 5 unnamed Autobots. But don't worry, to follow it up, we get 2 more unnamed Autobots, also guards like IDW had earlier, down here, with this one white and red dude. I've done my best to copy the design out. Yeah. I know I've added more colour to his gun, but I feel like that there probably would be more colour on the gun. And I haven't drawn the gun for the other dude because I couldn't really tell. But yeah, these 2, well, it might actually be yellow, not green with lines. Either way, 2 more Autobots. We've not even gotten to like the main Wreckers part, and we're already 7 unnamed Autobots. There is this dude who I think might be Whirl, but I couldn't really tell, so I've left him off on the off chance he is actually Whirl. No, I know I should probably just skip right to the next card here, but I'm just double checking because I believe a page which I couldn't really make out any of the clear characters might be in between, but I may be wrong. Yes, it's not long after this. Yes, here. We do have McAdams and all these Autobots, Decepticons, whoever in the background. But I just couldn't, it was just such a mess that I couldn't really make out any of them whatsoever properly. And then we do have Fangry and the Piano Bot, who Fangry wouldn't count, but the Piano Bot would potentially count. But once again, I wasn't sure if I would count the Piano Bot, so I've just left him out of this. But yeah, there are hordes, and I mean even more up on top there. But yeah, there are dozens here that could count. Honestly, it was just too confusing. I couldn't quite make out properly any of them. Probably it's just because it's overloading my brain even trying to look at that, but yeah. I don't know if they appear again on the next page. Yeah, a couple appear again in the background. But yeah. And then I believe we're truly done until there's this Decepticon here, who I have drawn. A couple others lying dead, and then this guy flying for the Decepticons. This guy is one of 2 confirmed Decepticons. But yeah, it is very much so. I just couldn't really make out any of the other Decepticons in this. But yeah, it's not good for the Decepticons, because the next Decepticons are that guy, and that guy. But these 2, where you couldn't really tell enough about them to really make out what they look like, this guy got plenty to make out what he looks like. This orangish yellow is clearly meant to be vaguely what his colour scheme's like. So I've tried to follow that with orange, yellow, brown, with a bit of grey for the face. But yeah. And that is this. As you can see, 2 confirmed Decepticons. And that's all you get for who are confirmed as Decepticons. Otherwise, they're almost all like this lot of Autobots. But you got 2 confirmed Decepticons, you got so many Autobots. Even if this guy's a traitor, you got tons of Autobots. Honestly, it's insane how many Autobots are in there. Most of the Autobots just being guards, though. The Priest of Primus is a great concept that never gets developed. I feel like with all the new primes that have been brought into the continuity since this guy's appearance, it would make so much sense to bring him back and actually have him as a much more compelling concept. Because he's there, he's able to be a more compelling concept. Even the traitor here, I feel like, is one they'll probably come back and name, to be fair. But these 2 I could see coming back to have some sort of relevance. Either way, even if they're not majorly relevant, but yeah. With 2 of the books down, and you've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Autobots, 2 Decepticons, 2 that are unsure which faction they are. And next up, we get this page. A lot of them are in robot mode. There seems to be a lot of aerial bots. That guy is one of the few not in robot vehicle mode. Here, but I cannot really tell enough about him to add him. That guy, I'm pretty sure there was a toy of him. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he got a toy in the War for Cybertron lines and all that, or War for Cybertron, War on Cybertron. The whole Siege, Earthrise, and whatever, that trilogy of stuff that had the Netflix shows. I'm pretty sure he got a toy in that stuff. And that is definitely an Insecticon. Whatever you say, that is just one of the Insecticons. But this guy, he's unambiguous. Though he's heavily implied to be an Autobot as he's shooting at a Seeker, is the only one I felt I had enough of to draw. He's relatively interesting character-wise. He just appears in this, but he could still be alive. He's likely dead, but he could still be alive. Especially because this is Megatron's perspective, and if Megatron's perspective, from what we've got of Megatron and that, Megatron is likely aiming his cannon, ready to kill one of these 2. So yeah, this guy is almost certainly dead, but it's not confirmed. He could come back, and he's an interesting looking design. I would honestly love to see him return. I've done my best to try and draw him here. And yeah, that's one book for the Energon Universe down. You guys will be so happy seeing how many are in this, because as you may remember, Starscream goes on a bit of a rampage, and I've done my best to draw as many of the people killed in the rampage as possible. So you've got these 3 initially, the green guy, the blue guy, and who I feel like they're going to go back and retcon as Motormaster. No confirmation though, so green guy, blue guy, Motormaster-esque dude. Honestly, as much, sadly, both the green guy and the blue guy, both confirmed dead, but they are confirmed. All three were confirmed Autobots. These two are confirmed dead, as you can clearly see. He's got a hole through him, and he's blasted. But unlike these two, who we do know for certain died, the Motormaster-esque dude here, which makes me even more feeling like he's going to end up being Motormaster, never shown to die. Even on the next page, where you get the whole montage, it's never shown him dying. It's implied this is him Starscream shooting him, but this guy is never shown to die. And if he doesn't die on screen, as you've already seen with Starscream coming back, he isn't a confirmed death. So you could see this guy again. Most likely not, but you could. But yeah, on this massive kill montage, I've only gone with the ones that I had the best, clearest view of. So why don't we start with the first confirmed death of that? This guy. I've done my best to redraw this guy as this guy. He is confirmed dead, sure, but a decent Autobot design. Next one that I believe I tried to draw. Yellow dude here. I've done my best to perfectly emulate him in a drawing. Probably not the best drawing I could have done, but hey. Pretty cool design. I would love to see what his art mode is, but probably never going to see him again. So, yet another sad Autobot loss. But don't worry, the Autobots have more. This dude, I felt like his head gave me at least enough of an idea that I could probably build what the rest of him looked like around that. And yeah, yet another Autobot. But still, sadly, gone for runs. And finally, this Huffer-esque looking dude. Like, he looks like he's meant to be like inspired by Huffer, or maybe part of Huffer's clan. Well, just more lanky. Well, don't worry, I've done my best to draw him too. I just couldn't really figure out that leg design, so I've just simplified his legs. But yeah, once again, another Autobot confirmed dead. But don't worry if you're upset that it's only the other artist who came into the title just for the Starscream flashbacks who get to draw original Transformers, and George Jorge Corona or whatever. Yeah, Jorge Corona. Jorge Corona. I don't want to pronounce it wrong because I love his artwork, but I don't know. Either way, he also gets to add, because he does get Shredhead as an original character. He's one of the creators of, but he gets these four. He gets unnamed characters too. We've got this guy in the middle here, who was the one that I found the hardest to draw out of all of those. We've got at the very end this very much Impactor-esque design, like G1 Impactor-esque, with his purple and yellow, or light blue. I couldn't really tell, so I did light blue on the actual drawing I did of it. But yeah, this G1 Impactor-esque dude. Don't worry. We've got this kind of like grilled saucer car one. Could very much be the Agent Knight toy they recently released, like inspired on that. I don't know. But yeah, I've done my best to draw him as well. I've made him slightly change his colour scheme around, even though I think here it's a bit more clear on colour schemes than that. Now, finally, my absolute favourite unnamed Transformer in all of the comics. This dude. This just random guard. He looks the coolest of all the unnamed Transformers. And I would love to see much more of him. But yeah. Once again, a lot of Autobots, or in the case of some of those murder victims, heavily implied Autobots. But yeah, so many characters. Like, Transformers has enough characters. They could just go back and like do like an anthology series which gives you at least one story behind each of these unnamed background characters in the main story. And by the time they finish that's doing at least one story for every unnamed character. You'd have at least one fan of some of those unnamed characters who would probably come along, be old enough to have a chance at writing the next generation of stories. And one of those forgotten, unnamed background characters could end up becoming an absolute goat of the franchise and becoming the next big thing. But Hasbro's unlikely to ever do that. But that's fine. Would recommend all these books and any other Transformers books if you get the chance. Especially if you want to read like early Transformers and figure out where it came from. Try getting I would recommend try and get the compendiums that have come out recently. I haven't quite got my hands on one of those yet, but from what I understand, they're really great quality, and you should get. And I would recommend keeping up with the Energon universe. I've been trying to keep up with everything. Bar Destro, I'm up to date with. Bar Destro, Void Rivals 2, and G.I. Joe 1. I'm up to date with everything right now in trade paperback format. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I've been Matt24, and this has been every Autobot and Decepticon, predominantly Autobots, who are unnamed in my comic collection. But yeah, I'll try and get more stories and be able to give you dozens upon dozens of more characters who rightfully deserve their time to be brought to a focus, be given the spotlight, because, well, I just really want like a title that's like Transformers Nobodies, and it's just like an anthology of these forgotten characters. That could be a fun fan project. Oh well, either way, I hope you enjoyed. I've been Maximus24, and this has been another video. Adios.